If you're as excited about Black Myth Wukong as we are, it can't come soon enough. Unfortunately for Xbox players, it's going to take a little longer. We'll see what Microsoft has to say about the situation.
And we had a huge Nintendo Direct. No news on a Switch 2, but a ton of exciting announcements. We're going to talk about all this stuff and so much more right now on Gaming News Weekly. What's up, everybody? It's time for another episode of Gaming News Weekly, the best weekly video game news show out there. Every single Monday, we're bringing you all the biggest things happening in the video game industry. My name is Erect the Red, and I'm joined every week by Full Clip. What's going on, dude? How are you?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm tired. I went into my whole thing before we recorded. I'm tired. That's all. I didn't have any coffee today. I was up real early. But
lucky for you, there's not a hell of a lot to talk about this week.
It's true. I could go take a nap or something, but I'm excited to be here to talk about what we do have to talk about because it was some fun stuff. So yeah, we'll see. You've been getting in anything fun? You've been doing any video games or outdoor activities?
You know, video game-wise, nothing crazy, but we'll talk about this as an exploratory venture. I got into the YouTube playables. You remember talking about, like, YouTube was going to bring out some games you can play, mostly on your phone and stuff like that?
Yes, I vaguely remember that.
I mean, it's not much. It's definitely, like, mobile titles, but I got into one that was like a farm simulator kind of thing. It definitely looks like one of these games that you see in ads where you're going and you're harvesting some crops, you're running over to the other side, you're selling them, you're expanding your little island a little bit more and a little bit more. And it's a bit of a grind, but like during the workday or something, if you've got nothing going on your other monitor, it's kind of cool to have something there. But there's like crossword puzzles and all kinds of stuff like that I was able to try out.
Nice. So it runs well? Were you having fun with it? It's a good time?
On the work computer, it didn't run that great once I started getting further into the farming game because you just got a lot going on, a lot of numbers, a lot of little like you hire farmers and stuff like that. It's not great over there, but then I came home, played a little more that night, and it was better. But yeah, I mean, it's junk titles, it's junk food as far as video games go.
Oh sure, Just every once in a while, that's all you want, though. You know, just right. Get your mind off of something mindlessly.
Yeah, just a little time waste.
Farm. Yeah, that's cool. I'll have to look into those. I got into a new deck builder. It's called Deathless Tales of Old Roos, and I guess so. Tales of Old Roos is an existing game, and they used whatever assets they had or the stories to make this deck builder. And it's like this Slavic folklore. This just came into early access, like it's brand new in early access. Those are not the best times to get into like deck builders most of the time because a lot of balancing needs to be done. But I got a review copy to check out the early access build of it. So I'm like, all right, deck builders, love them. Not huge on early access games, but I'm going to try it out. And it does need balancing. The game, it takes a little bit longer than it probably should. And one of the reasons that it does that, and I don't want it to go away, but every time you do an attack or the enemy does an attack, there's these beautiful, like hand-drawn animations. The art is gorgeous. Like one of the characters has like this long braid that she uses as a weapon. And it's just like, it looks so cool. It looks really good. The enemy designs and all the designs are really, really nice. So like, I don't know how you speed things up without getting rid of the stuff that kind of, makes it what it is. And it adds that really nice look to it and a nice touch of polish. But so that it's got definitely some gestation to wait on here and let that kind of cook inside the early access. But they got something here. It plays a lot like Slay the Spire, same kind of mechanics. But this introduces mechanics of when you beat a creature, they stay on the board like as a deceased creature for a while, and you have to either move them around to get them to, because or else they'll block your attack, just their corpse being there. So there's abilities where you could pull them onto your side to use them kind of as a meat shield or move them. So it's some new mechanics that I'm learning, and I'm enjoying it. So it's been a lot of fun, besides the fact that it needs a little bit of fine tuning.
Is there like an opportunity to revive them or something later on and use them again?
Yes, there is. So different skills do different things and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's very cool. And then another one I jumped in real fast. There is a game called Ale and Tail Tavern. And they came out, I don't know if it was part of the Steam Next Fest or whatever, but they came out with a prologue called First Pints. And it is basically you're running a tavern. It's like one of those simulators, but it's like during like fantasy times and stuff like that. So you got to brew the beer, you got to like get the barley and make the porridge and all this stuff. But it also has like fighting in it. And like, you go out hunting, you do farming, like it's got the whole thing. So the prologue is free on Steam right now. Everybody could go check it out. And it's great. It's short. Like I want it to be longer. I want more of the game. But for everything it has, it's at first it was a little, I don't know, a little janky. But then like once I got my keys bound and everything like that, I'm playing on my Steam Deck. It played pretty great, and it was a lot of fun. I recommend anybody into those sim style games, the management style games, go check that out, because it's like this fantasy. People get too drunk off your beers, and you have to like hit them with the broom to like shoo them out the door and stuff like that. Wow. Yeah, it's worth checking out.
Porridge simulator, I like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's like yeah, it starts you off. You got to make, like, you get barley, and you're like, all right, I got to make porridge and I got to make beer. The two essentials.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's get this show on the road. Let's talk about our new releases from last week. All right, first up, #Blood came out 6/18, June 18th on PC, Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch. It was weird. I had to like double and triple check those when I was looking at the consoles it was releasing on. Yeah, Xbox One and then PS4. And now it's not a graphically intensive game, so it makes sense. This is more in line of like a 90s cartoon is the aesthetic. It's got that same look, but it's an RPG. You play as Becky. She's a freshman in high school and also a vampire hunter. And she has a field hockey stick, and she goes and she, slays vampires. I did get a chance to play the demo last Steam Next Fest, and it was one of my favorite demos from that. So I'm excited to check out more of the game. The enemies are really cool. All the bosses, everything's really like cute, but like clever. Like there's a ton of like NPCs and characters that you'll find throughout the game that you like befriend and talk to, and it's very much like a cartoon that we grew up with. And it even has like, it's all hand drawn, and the art style is really cool. So
yeah, it is exactly like the early 2000s sort of Cartoon Network style of animation. There has to be some shared DNA or somebody working in there on that art style, because like the characters, it's just like Powerpuff Girls and stuff like that from that era. Yeah,
like the Fairly Odd Parents or something like that, yeah, so yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited to get in there and check that out at some point. Next up, Still Wakes the Deep came out June 18th on PC, PS5, Xbox One X, and S. This is a first-person psychological horror game set in the 70s on a collapsing oil rig. So it's done by the Chinese Room. They did Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and Amnesia and a bunch of other stuff. And they're back. They're great at this psychological horror, and they're doing this, and you just kind of exploring this, going through this oil rig, trying to get out. There's no weapons, no powers or anything like that. It's more you got to sneak and avoid danger. But yeah, it looks gorgeous, and everything I've read is that it's just like one of the best stories in a horror game in a long time. So that says something.
Yeah, that's interesting because from the trailers we've seen so far, it didn't look like there was a hell of a lot of story.
It
Definitely like some
didn't.
puzzles and
Yeah.
sneaking around, and the world is kind of falling apart, blocking your path, and creepy as hell. By the way,
Yeah.
there's something about being on an oil rig that's like falling
Yeah.
apart, and you're the only one there, or are you the only one there?
Right. Yeah, and just like the sounds too, like the way that they show it with the sounds of like, all that metal, kind of that heavy metal, like making that
Yeah.
the screeching sounds and stuff like that. And yeah, I definitely want to check this out just for it looks very like tense and scary. So excited for that one. And then last up, the big one. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC came out on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, X, and S. It's just more Elden Ring, really. Everything I've read, it's this huge new area. People are saying it's the same size as other full games that are out now. But this is just DLC. There's new secrets, new NPCs, new weapons, new spells, and most importantly, new bosses. Bunch of giant bosses that are really hard, and yeah, it's I guess it's about 30 hours, and it's $40. So I think it's a good value if you're fans of this game, especially if you played Elden Ring. I never beat Elden Ring. I just downloaded it today, back onto my system. Yeah, I think it was. Anyways, it's on there.
You going for this DLC?
I'm not gonna get the DLC until I maybe at least finish the main one, but I wanna play it. I look at my friends list, everybody's playing Elden Ring, and they're all playing that because they all they got further than me, of course. But
I hear there are some pros who are offering to like go into your game because you can do like a little bit of co-op like that. They'll come into your game and they'll beat like some of the hardest bosses for you so that you can skip right to the DLC.
Perfect.
Although if you can't get there yourself, I don't know what you're going to do once you hit the DLC. So
yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like this is end game stuff right here. You're supposed to have a full leveled character once you get to these new areas. So yeah, we'll see how I manage once I get in there. All right, that's it for our new releases. Let's talk about our news of the week. All right, our top story this week, the Nintendo Direct that just happened a few days ago, was a banger. They're killing it, man. Like between the Xbox showcase that just happened and this Nintendo Direct, I didn't expect Nintendo to be able to have like such big announcements at the end of the Switch's life cycle. No Switch 2 announcements. They said that going in, and I was like, well, what are they gonna do? And they surprised us all with some good ones. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna mix this in to our regular top 5 situation, and we picked out our top 5 favorite announcements from this week's Nintendo Direct. So let's kick things off with number 5. Mario and Luigi Brothership made the cut here. This game was interesting. It was like a co-op Mario and Luigi game where you go through kind of a classic style gameplay, but you got that co-op thing going through it. It's not what would you even call it? It's like it was pulled back, so it's not like right up to the screen like the other 2D kind of Marios, or a little bit up and back a little.
And it keeps that like the combat style is out of the Lost Kingdom or whichever Paper Mario game that was, or the RPG, I guess, pretty similar.
Yeah, I liked the style. I liked it. It was very colorful, very cartoony. It was pretty cool. Yeah, rainforests, cities.
Yeah,
all the classic characters are there.
I'm excited to play a Mario game that's actually built for 2 players, because we've talked in the past how a lot of the Mario games and other games on Nintendo Switch have multiplayer and co-op, but it's like an afterthought, and it makes the game worse. So hopefully this makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, it looks great. It comes out November 7th on the Nintendo Switch. Number 4, Super Mario Party Jamboree. Again, you just got another Super Mario Party. and I'm in. It's you just tell me Super Mario Party, and I'm like, I'm getting the game. This one, it just looked like more of the same. You know, it didn't really add anything amazing. Same. It's got some new game boards. Yeah, 5 new game boards, 2 boards from previous games, over 110 mini games, a Coupathlon mode that supports over 20 players, and much more. But yeah, more Mario Party.
Yeah,
Right?
that is exactly what I want when I'm going to have like people come over to the house and we want something to play on the TV. I'm looking forward to it. It's classic. It throws back to the N64 when we were playing pretty similar mini games and stuff.
Yeah, my wife's really good at Mario Party, and it just creates like a lot of tension. This comes out October 17th, so we'll have that this fall as well. Number 3, Hello Kitty Island Adventures. Now, yeah, it's us, a couple of grown-ass men excited about a Hello Kitty game coming to the Nintendo Switch.
But this game I've seen in a long time.
Oh my god! I was as they showed this trailer, I was like, Full Clip and his wife are playing this game, guaranteed. Like, it's it just looks. I mean, it looks very similar to Animal Crossing, but like as far as those games go, this one has a level of polish that we don't see in a lot of these games. You know, it looks like it's a full-featured, well thought out, version of one of these cozy, island adventure games.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I am hoping for this to be as good as like Animal Crossing. And I know that there's some crossover there because they had the Sanrio Hello Kitty like DLC pack and stuff for Animal Crossing. So I'm wondering if some of the same developers are going to be throwing their hand in on this.
Yeah, that one. I don't think we have a release date on that one yet, but yeah, again, I showed my wife and she was like, I'm playing that. So it's funny. It looks to be a very well made game. Next up, number 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. This one, man, I'm so excited for. Now, I'm terrible at these games, these Marvel vs. Capcom games, but they were always fun. This was back in the day when you didn't have a ton of Marvel properties. So you would have to take what you can get. And you would take these Marvel fighting games because they had all those characters that don't show up in these other games, all their powers and everything like that. So you had to get good at these fighting games because it was the only time you're going to be able to play the Hulk in a game or like Spider-Man doing his full thing. And then it got trademark issues. So in 2013, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was removed from stores, moved from digital marketplaces because of issues with getting the trademark. We never thought we'd ever see the day when those would be re-released. And not only do we get Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but we get X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, and the Punisher side-scrolling beat-em-up game, all on one game. Amazing, dude. I was watching this, I could not believe that it was actually happening. And then on top of that, there's going to be a bunch of like other, stuff thrown in there for the re-release. So it's amazing. I'm super excited for this one.
I love these crossover games. I always used to see them like going to the movies or something when they had a row of arcade machines, pinball and everything. Yes. And it'd always be like, I mean, the only thing this is missing is like, what was it, Soul Calibur versus something another?
Yeah,
those were cool. Versus Dead or Alive or
crossovers. Yeah, those crossovers were always fun. But yeah, I'm so ready to buy this and just get destroyed online by people that are much better at these games than I am. But at least I'll be doing it playing as my favorite Marvel and X-Men characters. And that's all that matters. So, yeah, I'm very excited. Now we just need a new one. Let's get a new Marvel versus Capcom game out there. And I'll be happy. I'll be very happy. So this one comes out later this year. I don't think we have a release date yet, but hopefully soon. And number 1, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. This game was such a big surprise in 2 ways. First, we're getting a brand new Zelda game before the end of the year and before the end of the Switch, You know, I didn't think we were going to get another one. And second surprise, you're playing as Zelda in this. You're not Link. Hit the road. We don't need you. We got Princess Zelda up in here doing her thing, and that's a completely different style of game. You know, this one looks a lot more puzzle based, movement based, and then there were like creatures and stuff. I don't know, but it looks really cool.
Like definitely bringing it back sort of to the Super Nintendo days, where it's not a 1-to-1. It's not like a pixel based game, but it is that sort of that level layout, that world layout. But this is also taking elements in from the most recent 2 big titles in the Zelda universe, where you could, we were talking about all the contraptions people were building, using the game mechanics to get around and cheat the system or whatever you want to do, making like flying drone bombs and stuff. This, I think, has a slightly easier version of that, but when you're going around the world, they show in the trailer you can like clone objects, and once you've cloned that object, you can make as many as you want. So it's as far as like puzzles and stuff like that, you can then build yourself ladders or bridges or whatever you need out of those items.
Yeah, it looks very cool, and I know like, I don't know. I'm sure Nintendo will get stuff about being woke and having like a female character in the thing, but like, I watched a lot of like TikToks and people with this announcement and having female fans of this series finally get to play as Zelda. It's a really cool thing, and I'm excited for it to happen. September 26th, this one comes out.
If they ever do that to Metroid, I'm going to be so pissed.
Speaking of Metroid, I was surprised Metroid didn't make your list. The Metroid Prime 4 gameplay. What'd you think of that?
Metroid doesn't really do it for me. I've been anti-woke for, that long.
Gotcha.
I won't play Metroid.
Yep, I do remember that hashtag you started. So that's our top 5. Those are the 5 biggest announcements. Now, there were a bunch of other things that did happen, like the Metroid Prime 4 gameplay. We didn't get a release date. We did get a release window, 2025 for Metroid Prime. They showed some Funko Fusion gameplay. What'd you think of that?
Oh, looks good. Yeah, I liked. I think this is the first time we've seen the character selection screen, and it looks like you're in a store, like looking at the wall of boxes. Yeah,
that was.
But I think
really
you're going
cool.
through like, I think they're categorized by like the property they're in or something. So you want Umbrella Academy, you're scrolling through that level. Yeah, it looks really cool.
Yeah, and like this was the Nintendo Switch. Oh, we got a kitty appearance.
Yeah, we got a guest.
Nice. The Nintendo Switch version, obviously, it doesn't look like it has a ton of power, and we could. I'm excited to see more on captured from like a PS5 or an Xbox or something like that, because you could see it struggled a little bit, but you get the gist of the gameplay and what it's going to be. And I think when you said looks like a Lego style game, except with these characters, that's exactly what it looked like. But more. I guess more gunplay, more shooting than you would have in a Lego game. But it says it's going to come out with over 60 characters to be able to unlock and play. So that's pretty cool. Jurassic World, Back to the Future, Shaun of the Dead, Chucky, Battlefield Galactica, just to name a few. So that was really cool. There was a Metroidvania called MIO, Memories in Orbit. That looked really interesting, had a really cool art style. I'd never seen any of that before. That one I'm excited about. Farmiga was, we talked about, monster tamer games before, not too long ago. And this Farmiga looks very interesting, where it looks like a classic monster tamer game, but there were like 20 different ones like on the screen that you use it like, and you're like commanding this team of like creatures to do things as opposed to just having like 1 or 2. So I thought that was interesting, and they're firemen too. They're firemen. They're fighting. They're doing it all. So
yeah.
Anything else strike you from this showcase?
let's see, Stray is coming to Switch. I don't know if this was the announcement that it's coming to Switch,
That's right. Yeah,
but
that's
yeah, interesting.
perfect one for the Nintendo Switch. I think if it could, you know, do the world justice, because that had a
Yeah.
very graphically beautiful world. So hopefully it can do that.
And then we saw a little bit more about the, okay, it's a long name, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition. So one of the cool things that I saw in that trailer was that they're going to have like this almost battle royale style of play where you're going to compete. You're going to be competing against like ghost data of other players from around the world, and like the last person standing wins. So if you can beat out all of their times, which you're going to see on screen, like competing at the same challenges along with you, then you'll win that.
Yeah, yeah, that looks really cool. I'm excited to see what that's all about. Like, again, I'm not going to be up on those leaderboards, but I like the retro games and having like little snippets of play and missions and stuff like that. So yeah, that should be fun. All right. Well, I think we did that showcase justice. There was a bunch of other stuff. So, if you're a big fan of the Nintendo Switch or want to see what else they have, go check it out. There was, a bunch of other smaller games coming to the Nintendo Switch before the end of its life cycle. Now, hopefully soon, this is where we'll start to, maybe hear something about a new console. My wife, who plays her Nintendo Switch very, very regularly, her one of her joysticks is having issues, and she's got the Switch Lite, so she can't. It's all one piece, So she was like, "I'm like, the Switch 2, it's coming soon." She's like, "I can't wait that long." So I think we're probably gonna have to go buy a new Nintendo Switch or something. I don't know. The refurbished ones are I've seen them. I saw them pretty cheap at like GameStop, but I was like, do we really want to get a refurbished one? I don't know. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. Refurbished means different things to different sellers.
Right.
So it could mean they wiped it down with Lysol and that was it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. All right. Let's move along. We got a couple more things to talk about this week. Some sad news, and I know something that you were very much looking forward to. Life by You, the Sims killer, has been canceled. Paradox Interactive canceled the game outright. Basically, they said a few weeks back we decided to hold off on an early access release in order to reevaluate Life by You, as we still felt that the game was lacking in some key areas. Though a time extension was an option, once we took that pause to get a wider view of the game, it became clear to us that the road leading to a release that we felt confident about was far too long and uncertain. They said the game had a number of strengths, but they realized that when we come to a point where we believe that more time will not get us close enough to a version we would be satisfied with, then we believe it is better to stop. So it must have been really bad for them to have put all this work in it and then just kill it.
I mean, you know that it has to be like a very complex system in that game. And I mean, I think that's why so many people don't attempt like Sims clones. So yeah, I can see it. I can see small changes here and there, like throwing the whole thing off in the development of that game.
Right. Yeah. Especially, I mean, so much of it is based on AI and the NPCs, but then on top of that, they were saying how this game, you play it real time with other people, so that system's it's a whole new system. And then they were saying how it's going to be the most moddable game. So, then they got to leave all that. It's like crazy. So it's unfortunate. It sounded great. They had, good ideas, but
yeah. Well, the good news is there are like 2 or 3 other games which are trying to do sort of the same thing, and they're, as far as I know, still in development.
Yeah. So we'll see. Hopefully something comes out that The Sims needs a kick in the butt because they're just doing the bare minimum and charging a lot of money.
Yeah.
All right, and last up, Black Myth Wukong has been delayed on the Xbox. No one was really sure why. It was just kind of left out of when they were talking about the release date. And we've got a few deets on exactly what happened and why Black Myth Wukong will not be released the same time as the PlayStation and PC versions. So, see, a Microsoft spokesperson said, we're excited for the launch of Black Myth Wukong on Xbox Series X and S and are working with game science to bring the game to our platforms. We can't comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders, but we remain focused on making Xbox the best platform for gamers, and great games are at the center of that. And then they said, we're currently optimizing the Xbox Series X and S version to meet our quality standards, so it won't release simultaneously with the other platforms. We apologize for the delay and aim to minimize the wait for Xbox users. We will announce the release date as soon as it meets our quality standards. Now, they don't exactly say it, but this is what happened with Baldur's Gate, in that they've always wanted parity. So Xbox Series X and S games need to have parity. They need to both be able to run for them to be released. And I'm wondering if that's what's happening. If they're not getting a good version on the S, and so they're not going to release it until they can get that. I don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't have just said that if that was the case. But
I mean, maybe because they're getting so much backlash over it already happening, they don't want to go and say, well, that terrible mistake we've made.
Right.
This is it. Yeah. Again.
Exactly. Yeah. So they backed off a little bit with Baldur's Gate, but I mean, that was when Baldur's Gate 3 was the biggest game out right then. They're like, all right, it's fine. You could have a shittier version on the, the Series S, and but people were worried about it having some sort of exclusivity deal with Sony. So no exclusivity, but also no release date yet. So we'll see.
So speaking of exclusivity, what's with that line? We can't comment on the deals made by our partners with other platform holders. Like, are they trying to suggest that maybe Sony had a deal?
That's what it sounded like to me, that they're kind of like, trying to move the blame off of them and be like, it could be that we can't comment. Like, it seemed weird, man. But then in the very next sentence, for him to be like, yeah, we're working on making it the best playable experience, and it was just like, it was a weird thing to say. I thought the same thing, but yeah, I don't know. Who knows, dude? Who knows what these studio bigwigs are up to? Not us. That's all I got. That is, again, another lighter news week. Thank goodness we had that Nintendo thing to talk about. Yeah. But, it always happens after E3. There's a lull, and we'll get through that. We just got to come out the other side, dude. Pretty soon we'll be talking about GTA 6, and we're going to be talking about, all those good games. So, you got anything else you want to say before we pack it in?
Nah, that's it. Let's go enjoy the summer.
All right, let's get out of here. Thanks so much for checking out this episode of Gaming News Weekly. If you are into the whole video version of it, go check us out on YouTube. Pop Culture Playground is where you will find this show. You can also go to GameFAQs, GAMEFAX. That's where Full Clip posts some content. If you just want to listen to the show, you can check it out anywhere podcasts are found. Just type in GNW into the search, and you're going to get this show right there. Make sure you hit subscribe on all those platforms, and that way you'll be getting the newest episode every single Monday. It's just there waiting for you when you're going to start your day. And then check us out on TikTok. We're posting content over there, having fun on that on that service before it goes away. And that's all I got. Anything else?
Nah, that's it.
I think I crushed it. All right, we're getting out of here. Whoa, close up. Put that away. This is an all ages show. And for you audio listeners right there, you'll have to go check out the video to see what we're talking about. It was disgusting. All right, we're out of here. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.